Well, hi, hello, and how are you doing out there in internet land? And happy Labor Day weekend. My name is Brian Trippett. I am the Front Porch Conservative, and welcome to Front Porch Brunch, the Labor Day weekend edition. My name is Brian Trippett. I am your host. We are going to hang out for a little while before college game day kicks off in earnest. And let me tell you something. I'm not going to lie to you guys. It's been an emotional morning for me already. While I've been prepping the show this morning, I've been watching a little bit of college game day streaming over the computer. And as I mentioned Wednesday night, this is the last broadcast for the legendary Lee Corso. And if you have been watching any of it this morning, Lee is decked out in a tuxedo, and he has been receiving the appropriate amount of goodbyes that he should get, which should be a ton of them. And they should all be heartfelt, and they should all be well-wishing in their receipt. And that is the case. And Lee is just soaking it all in. The fans are soaking it all in. It's a sight to behold. But anyway, we're glad you're here this morning for the Labor Day edition of Front Porch Brunch. And again, my name is Brian Trippett. I am the Front Porch Conservative. I am sometimes known as the chap in the cap. Sometimes I'm known as the wise guy in the wide brim. On occasion, I'm called the common man with common sense. But in this moment, as always, even on Labor Day weekend, I am your host. We are on Rumble, we are on Twitter, and we are on that quaint little alternative social media platform known as YouTube. Yes, and I'm even sometimes known as the kid in the lid. And the beau and the chapeau, among so many other names that I'm given around social media. We are on that quaint little alternative social media platform known as YouTube. We're glad you're here with us. Like I say, it's Labor Day weekend. It's the official kickoff to college football season. And as you all know, if you've been around my live streams and my channel for a while, you guys know this is one of the weekends of the year that I absolutely live for. I have got so many great memories of college football games that I have watched. And well, here's another new term: the West Virginia Cat in the Hat. I tell you what, the accolades and the names keep stacking up. You guys are awesome. Yeah, I have so many great memories of college football. As you guys know, and I will rise up a little bit and show you here. I am a Marshall University Thundering Herd football fan. This is the old logo for Marco, our legendary mascot. And oh no, Lana, I'm sorry to hear about this. Oh no, that's a crying shame. See, when you get radio personalities like that, that breaks the heart. You're going to miss them. Good morning, Mr. Cabello. Again, follow this man. Find him on YouTube. Find him on Rumble. Find him on Kick. Follow him on Twitter. The guy's he's going through the valley, but he's still with us and still doing his thing and doing it as well as anybody out there. No, I have great memories of college weekends. My beloved Thundering Herd, Marshall University, we are playing University of Georgia at 3:30. Yes, we're going to lose. Miracles have happened. I mean, a few years ago, we went up to South Bend, Indiana. We beat Notre Dame at Notre Dame Field. So crazier things have happened, but we're going to lose this weekend, guys. I just tell you that right now. But anyway, we're glad you're here with us on Labor Day weekend. We hope you're having fun. We hope you and your families are having the chance to get together for cookouts and barbecues and, sitting around on your front porch, telling a few lies and straightening out the world as we see it. And we're going to do that for a little while here. We're probably going to try and do an abbreviated show this morning because, like I said, I know what college weekend means to everybody. And I want to be appropriate with y'all's time, but we got a few stories to go over and some updates to catch up on. And let's see who all is in the house this morning. The Wingnuts, in spite of the fact that it's Labor Day weekend, the Wingnuts are fully assembled over on Rumble. WWG1 is in the house. TBA is in the house. Fist bumps to both of you. And yes, the memes are still here. We've got it. We still got them from Wednesday. We're going to go over them. And we're going to have some fun doing it. Let's see who all is in the house so far on the YouTube side. Z Highness representing the 199. Mwah, good morning, gorgeous, you wonderful thing. Adam is here, our favorite crazy Canadian. Lana's in the house. Good morning. Yeah, it does. I woke up this morning. I had to run an errand before the live stream started, and I walked down to my house, and I was like, woo! Now, it is chilly out here, but yes, it's a very nice feeling. Yeah, Kit's in the house. We're glad to have him here with us this morning. Kawan is here, as mentioned. So, yeah, we got a good little crowd developing. Glad you guys are with us. And you know what? We're going to dive right in to the Merry... Oh, wait a minute. Hold it. Before I even do that, we have 2 brand new sponsors to the electronic front porch. I told you guys we are a going little concern, and I tell you what, it's getting bigger all the time. It's amazing. We have 2 brand new sponsors to the show, and one of them, I'm going to go ahead and play you the commercial right now. I think you guys, yes, by all means, hit that like button. Hit that like button, Z Highness says. But we're going to go with our first sponsor of the morning, and folks, I think you're truly going to want to go out and pick up this product. I'm not even going to mention the name, because you know what? The ad is going to speak for itself. When you get through seeing the product placement ad that you're about to watch, you're going to run out after this live stream is over, and it better be after this live stream is over. You're going to run out, and you're going to want to get your hands on some of this. So, folks, do me a favor and check out our new sponsor.
I swiped the EBT. It said decline. Girl, I ain't paying no cash. Hell no.
You ever been in a situation like this with a bonnet-wearing LaFonda? You're not racist. You're just exhausted. That's when my doctor prescribed me Civilize. Not to make it better, just so I could keep my mouth shut and walk away.
With Civilize, you don't hear the ignorance. You don't feel the heat. You just move forward. Thanks to Civilize, I don't even hear it anymore.
Well, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Civilize. Go out and get yourself a bottle of it today. I tell you what, for all of the craziness that we hear in the world, I think this product is going to be something that if people start taking it, then we're going to be a whole lot better off. You know what? So go out today, get yourself a bottle of Civilize, as advertised here on the Electronic Front Porch. A brand new sponsor to the show. We're very glad to have them being a part of Fedora Nation. Now, we also have another new sponsor. And, well, I don't know if you call them a sponsor as much as it is a partnership. They're going to mention us during their show. It's a brand new cooking show. I forget what it's going to be on cable, major cable networks, actually. And it's called Kitchen Beasts. I mean, these folks are doing some amazing things in the kitchen. And, folks, it's a very unique show. Truly it is. I think Kitchen Beasts, or what was the other name that they were thinking about? Kitchen Animals, or, I think Kitchen Animals or Kitchen Beasts. Anyway. So we'll see what happens here, but they are going to be mentioning us on their live stream, which we're very happy about. And, hopefully you will enjoy them. So anyway, give me 1 second here. We will check this out and let you see. Matter of fact, we got a promo for the new show, and I think you guys are going to enjoy it. The show is called Kitchen Beasts. So, folks, do me a favor and check this out.
And that's how you successfully. My largest client is now in a bulk phase. Let's begin. Perfect. And that's how you successfully make a bulking meal.
Folks, I don't know how long this show is going to be on the air, but they're willing to sponsor us, so I take that as good news. I don't know. We'll see what happens with these folks. Yeah, Kawan, I can see what you're saying. It's not me, brother, I promise. Although, let me try something here real quick. One moment. Maybe. Let's try that. See what happens. See if that helps the cause a little bit. All right. So anyway, I know. Good, bad. Yeah, it's awful. Truly. Let's see if that helps it a little bit anyway. So, I'll even try one more down from that. Hold on. Let's see if that helps. Anyway, we're trying to do everything we can. Hopefully in the near future. Thanks a lot. Oh, Yahweh. Jeez. Can you feel the love as the host? Anyway, so those are our two new sponsors. We hope you'll check them out. And we'll see what happens here. Anyway. All right, what else do we have here? So yes, now we can officially dive into the merry memes of the show. So, it is college. It's the first official weekend of college football. And, a lot of things can be said. WWG1 says, you don't need a filter now. He. Thanks a lot. Oh my gosh. Yeah, vey. Oy vey, the abuse I'm taking on this show. It's terrible. Absolutely terrible. Anyway, as I've said, it is the first official weekend for college football, and it means a lot of different things. It means football, it means food, it means adult beverages of varying kinds. But however, I would be remiss if, as your host, I did not try to at least give a warning. Please, try to be careful with your consumption because, daggone it, you might think that you have moves like Jagger, but let me tell you something. It normally does not end well, okay? Not everyone can be Mick Jagger, and I don't care how much alcohol you consume, there is the possibility that this is how you will wind up. I'm just saying. So, please be careful out there, folks, as you consume adult beverages this weekend. There you go. There you go indeed. All right, what else do we have in the way of the merry memes? Oh, this pixelation is getting even worse. Let's see. Might save that one for a little bit. Yes, indeed. There are a lot of institutions that we talk about here on the Electronic Front Porch, and none, I would argue, is more important than marriage. Now, seriously, without a good, solid, strong, married life, for those of you who are, I think you would be willing to admit that, life gets very, very difficult. And, there's a lot of give and take in marriage. It's getting even worse. Hang on. I'm going to try something I normally would never do. Maybe that helps. I'm willing to give that a shot. Anyway. Well, yeah, Adam, that's true. Not everyone can meister alcohol. Oh, God. He's here all week, folks, and don't forget to tip the waitresses and try the veal. Anyway, there's a lot of give and take in marriage, and there's a lot of, sharing of things and, getting your partner involved in what you're doing. However, there are some moments when, frankly, there's no amount of sharing that you can do, and there's no amount of making it work that's going to make it work. And if you want an example of what that looks like, here's something from WWG1. Yes, ladies and gentlemen. And sometimes a good marriage is built on just good old-fashioned anger management. We're not saying, but we're just saying. Yeah. So, yikes. Yikes indeed. Oh, goodness me. What else do we have in the way of the merry memes this morning? I tell you the truth, we got a bunch of stuff hanging out there. My goodness indeed. Yes. A lot of people over the years have made much of the interesting coincidence that happens between people who know Hillary Clinton and people who know Hillary Clinton, and something bad happens to them. In other words, they wind up getting in a plane crash, a car accident, or they commit suicide. And I think a little of this is overblown, to be perfectly honest with you. Honestly, I think Hillary gets a bad rap on this deal. I do. I think she gets a very bad rap on this deal. Look, just because some people hang out or associate with Hillary Clinton does not mean that bad things. Now, wait a minute. This is grossly no. The Grim Reaper did not commit suicide, okay? Look, this is a horrible rumor, okay? This is an awful, ugly rumor, and I want everybody to know I disavow this in the strongest possible terms. I mean, just because there allegedly was a visit from the Grim Reaper to the Clinton household, there in no way, shape, or form does that mean there's any connection between Hillary Clinton and what has apparently happened to the Grim Reaper. I'm not saying, but I'm just saying. That's just ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. I disavow in the strongest possible terms. That's just wrong. Absolutely wrong. All right, what else do we have here? Let us see. Yes. Got a couple of more here that are kind of interesting. Some people wonder about the mental acuity of Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson. And I think Johnson would freely admit that he's no Einstein. However, well, you know what? I'm just going to let this one speak for itself. There's just no other way getting around it. I'm just going to let this one speak for itself. That's all you can do in this case. That's all you can do. So, yeah. Is he really wataded? I don't know. Just saying. I think he's being harsh on himself. Truly. I think he's being harsh on himself, ladies and gentlemen. Truly I do. Brandon, you're okay. You're dumb, but you're still okay. TBA over on Rumble says Brandon Johnson is in big doo-doo these days. Funny you should say that. That whole Chicago situation is about to get real interesting. And if Kit Cabela, when certain things start developing, if Kit Cabela, Kit, if you're still out there in the audience this morning, if you want to come back on my live stream and talk about it, because I tell you what, Chicago about to get real interesting indeed, my friend. Truly interesting indeed. So anyway, yeah, no kidding. Oh, this is just wrong. This is wrong. Stop it, Adam. Really? Come on, man. Be better. Be better, sir. Be the bigger man. Yeah, and it's not just confined to Brandon Johnson. I mean, you have the most interesting juxtaposition right now I've ever seen between Democrat big city mayors and Democrat governors and the Trump administration. And it's the most bizarre thing I think I've ever watched. Truly. I really do believe it. I think it's the most bizarre thing I've ever seen. I mean, for example, have you ever seen governors that don't want help in trying to take down crime in their states? I mean, in Newsom, you've got the whole of California. With Pritzker, you've got Chicago. With Hochul, you've got New York City. I mean, have you ever seen anything like this? It's crazy. TBA over on Rumble asks an unrelated question. What time does the Marshall game start? Wifey wants to know when she should start the smoker and get the kegger going. 3:30 Eastern, my friend. 3:30 Eastern. That is when the Marshall game gets kicked off. Down between the hedges down there in Athens, Georgia. And like I said, it's going to be a great game for Georgia. But for all the rest of us Marshall fans, okay, we're trying to get a feel for what our team can and cannot do this year. So let's see what happens. All right. What else do we have out here in the way of the merry memes? Here's one that I found last night. And it really kind of sums up how I view the world these days. Hang on one second, folks. It really does. It kind of sums up how I feel about the world these days. So truly. And again, there's some memes that just sort of speak for themselves, and this is one of them. I feel just like Snoopy. Just like Snoopy. Let me tell you something. So there you go, folks. Just remember that one. It's a Gundam put that one out on Twitter, and I was like, yep. I truly appreciate this one. Truly, I do. All right. I want to thank WWG1 as always. I want to thank Lana. I want to thank Adam. I want to thank everybody who has contributed this morning to the Merry Memes. You guys are completely and totally awesome as always. I cannot thank you enough for all the contributions that you give. And I also want to thank, some people who aren't even here. Salty Old Fart's not here this morning, but I figure with Labor Day weekend, he's probably traveling and all that good stuff. Kawan, this camera is looking a lot better, a lot less pixelation. I've got the stream up over here on Rumble on the side, and yeah, it really does. I got to remember the setting until I start changing equipment around, which hopefully is going to be in the very near future, folks. So hang on tight. We might be upgrading here shortly. So there you go. But yeah, it does look a whole lot better. So thank you. This setting I came across. Well, it's not just the cam; it's the computer. And I've had this discussion with WWG1, and I don't mind sharing it with you guys. I have a laptop that really, since I started this channel, has served my needs well. On WWG1s, I think your IP is screwing with your upload speeds. That's possible too. That's possible. Yeah, the squirrels in that old computer are doing the best they can. That's the truth. But I mean, I have been shopping around, and I am about this close to pulling the trigger on a purchase for a better computer. And the graphics card, the processor that's got in it, hopefully starts taking away a lot of these problems. So, and it should happen probably in the next 2 or 3 weeks, and it may happen sooner than that. It just, a lot of it depends on timing and everything else. So, yeah. But anyway, the setting I've got it on right now, even with the laptop I've got, is I will screenshot my current settings. TBA says, I've heard that HP Hyperion is pretty good, kind of pricey though. So, well, we'll see. Well, no, I was actually looking at Meta PCs. They've got a computer that I've been looking at for a little while, and the price point's pretty good. The hardware on it is pretty good. So, like I say, I'm about this close to pulling the trigger on it and making it happen. But yeah, so hopefully, I can like step up my game a little bit in terms of what I can do with my little channel here in my live stream. So, but yeah, for what I've got it on, the settings I've got it on right now, I'm looking over here at the picture. It's actually coming through pretty good. I have not a reason to complain. So anyway, all right, enough of my computer technical issues. Let us get down to why you came here. We're going to talk a little news. TBA says, I've heard it's the computers with high-speed graphics cards are the ones for podcasting. Yeah, I do. I mean, I've got a... hang on a minute, because I'm getting sucked into this conversation, and I don't mind. I have got a HP laptop. It's for those of you who are techie out there, okay? HP laptop 15 EF2. It's got an AMD Ryzen 7 5700U Radeon graphics, or some of the inputs into this thing, and it's reached that point where it's the graphics are getting older. It's time for an upgrade. Now, the one I'm looking at, just to give you guys an idea, and again, I would like an opinion on this. Okay, I would like an opinion on this. For those of you out there who are tech gurus, okay, translation, you know more about computers than I do, which frankly could be my crazy Aunt Ethel for all I know about computers. The one I'm looking at it's got an Intel Core i5 12400F processor. It's got a NVIDIA GeForce RTX 5060 graphics card. Again, for those of you who are techie people out there, I'll take recommendations on this. So, by all means, throw in. But yeah, that's kind of what I'm looking at. And like I said, for the price point, yeah, it's pretty good. Yeah, it's got at least 32 gigabytes of RAM, TBA, to answer your question. WWG1 says AMD processors are underpowered. Oh, okay. That sounds like solid equipment. I kind of think so. I mean, because I've been, doing my due diligence, checking out the proposed new processor versus, the one I'm looking at versus the one I've got. So it's kind of just checking around. So Kawan says, that should be plenty of processor. I suspect it's your internet. Well, I'm not even so much worried about the processor, Kawan, as much as I am the graphics card. Of course, in my case, if the mice turn on the treadmill at all on either of my computers, so I'm pretty happy. So, Ziana says, this sounds like an algebraic expression. girl, believe me, like I said, as much as I know about the actual workings of computers, it's as you say it's algebra, I call it gibberish. Okay, it's like I don't know. I just turn the button on and hopefully it does things. That's what I want it to do. So WWG1 says, "What is the price for that? About 1,000? A little over that. To be the $11.99 to answer your question." So yeah, it's not. I mean, for my part, WWG1 for my part, yeah, it's not bad for the price point. So we'll see what happens here. Go on to Reddit and see what the gamers are using, says TBA. Well, all right, not a bad idea. Not a bad idea. My old 2018 Walmart special is a workhorse. Really? Interesting. Believe me, I'll write off everything I can on my taxes this year for various reasons. Trust me. All right. Anyway. All right. Let's get down to business. And I got a couple of stories and some minor stuff. And by the way, I'm planning on doing a live stream Tuesday night because I know I will not get to everything today. So, but Tuesday night we're going to do a session in the newsroom. And as a matter of fact, just to let you guys know, I'm thinking about changing the format of what I do. Not the format, but the days on which I do it. I'm thinking about going to a Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday schedule. And TBA says, well, why Tuesday? Well, okay, Labor Day is Monday. And I figure everybody's still going to be, vacationing, coming back from vacation, etc. And I kind of like the idea of a Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday schedule because, you got a little bit of time in between and you've got the weekend as a buffer. You got Sunday, Monday, and then you're back at it on Tuesdays. To me, that seems like a reasonable schedule for everybody's concerned. So that's part of why I'm thinking about it. And I'd like to get some more work in. TBA says, even if you do it on Tuesday, I'll still be drunk. So no go on the witty comments. I will limit my rapier wit for your benefits, sir. I will try to keep it to a minimum, as they say. So, but yeah, we're going to be doing a live stream Tuesday evening. Unless something comes up and I don't know about it. It'll probably be 7:30, Z Highness, to answer your question. We'll do our best. Like I say, I'll try and I've got some nephews with baseball in the fall, so we'll see how all this goes. But my plan right now in my head, my plan is Tuesday, Thursdays, and Saturdays. So we'll see what happens. Anyway, all right, now let's get down to business. You guys may have heard about this yesterday, and if you haven't, we'll just go ahead and bring it up. There has been an ongoing battle ever since Donald Trump came back to the presidency, and everybody we all saw this coming, okay? We all saw this coming, and that is sorry, folks, I just got distracted. I saw a comment from TBA over on Rumble, and it's just like, oh, for the love of God, with this guy, I tell you. Anyway, it's a fight that we all knew was coming, and it's been going on ever since Trump took his hand off the Bible from swearing the oath. And that is the court. He does something, somebody takes him to court. He does something, somebody takes him to court. He does something, somebody takes him to court. And more often these courts are packed with judges, and the plaintiffs know this going in. They're packed with judges that probably are going to rule against the Trump administration. Well, such was the case late yesterday evening. I got my first story here in the stack. And let me get everything flipped over here. From our friends at NBC News, Trump's tariffs overstep presidential powers, appeals court says. A panel of 11 judges ruled 7-4 that the president's tariffs were illegal, but said they could stay in place as the case proceeds. Article written by Steve Kopak and Rob Weil. We've got the following. A federal appeals court said Friday that President Donald Trump had misused his authority when he imposed tariffs under an emergency power statute, ruling that only Congress has the power to apply such sweeping measures. However, the judges said the tariffs can stay in place as the case proceeds. Quote, the core congressional power to impose taxes, such as tariffs, is vested exclusively in the legislative branch by the Constitution, a ruling signed by 7 judges with the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Federal Circuit. Tariffs are a core congressional power. Now, hold on a minute. I have a question. See, automatically, I don't necessarily agree with the logic of this. First question, is a tariff the same thing as a tax? Let me say that again. Is a tariff the same thing as a tax? Now, if the answer to that question is yes, okay, I can sort of see where the judges who are in the majority on this decision are coming from, because taxation is exclusively a province of the Congress. But a tariff is an imposition on another country outside the U.S. And, well, okay, functionally, all right, I'll agree with you. Functionally, it amounts to the same thing. But in this case, is a robot a human being? I mean, to go to your point. All right, a robot looks like a human being. A robot can walk like a human being. A robot can talk like a human being. But is a robot a human being? No. So, I mean, just because, and I'm not trying to argue with you, but I'm trying to make a point. Functionally, a tariff might function like a tax, but is it a tax? I would argue no. And I think that goes to the heart of this ruling from the judges. But anyway, back to the story, and we'll get to some more of this here in a second. The ruling affects 2 sets of tariffs Trump has sought to impose. The first are the country-by-country or reciprocal tariffs, which now range in scope from 34% for China to a 10% baseline for the rest of the world. It also affects the 25% tariff Trump imposed on some goods from Canada, China, and Mexico for what the Trump administration said was a failure on the part of those countries to curb the flow of fentanyl. Friday's ruling does not affect tariffs implemented under other laws, such as the 50% steel and aluminum tariffs on all worldwide trading partners. Those tariffs were implemented under the various sections of Trade Act of 1974 and the Trade Expansion Act of 1962. Go a little bit further into the article. In the dissenting opinion, hang on, got to get myself set back. Yeah, here we go. In the dissenting opinion, the 4 judges who voted against the ruling, who included Kimberly Moore, the court's chief judge, argued that the International Emergency Economic Powers Act has been appropriately used by Trump in relation to the tariffs. Adding to the dissent, Circuit Judge Richard Taranto wrote, quote, we conclude that the IEEPA's authorization on presidential action is in this realm and is not an unconstitutional delegation of legislative authority under the Supreme Court's decisions, which have upheld broad grants of authority, including tariff authority, in this foreign areas related area. The administration is likely to appeal to the Supreme Court, which is currently composed of 6 conservatives and 3 liberal justices. 3 of the 6 conservatives were nominated by Trump. Well, that doesn't necessarily mean anything, but thank you for pointing that out. And lastly, however, the Trump administration may also wait until the case is reconsidered by the International Trade Court, which first took up the case in its Friday decision. The appeals court said the CIT, may have violated a recent Supreme Court ruling limiting judges' ability to impose so-called universal injunctions that reach beyond the scope of a given case. It's moments like this that I really get frustrated. I truly do. Good morning, dear. Glad to have you here. I just get frustrated. Do the plaintiffs have the right to sue? Yes. I don't. You've got the right to go into court and bring suit if you wish to do so. It's just, I guess my bone of contention with all this and my frustration is like, look, do I want a supremely powerful executive? No, not necessarily. I want the majority of political power at the federal level to rest in the hands of the legislative branch. That is what the Founding Fathers designed the system to be. However, if the Congress is going to delegate over to the executive branch certain powers related to tariffs, and apparently it's all been done that way up until now, then what are we arguing about here? And why do I get the feeling this is just one more case deciding to try to gum up the works? Slow it down, slow Trump down, give us time to either persuade him to turn around and not do this, or we'll wait until he gets out of office and we'll deal with another president. That's all this is, at least from my perspective. Kawan says Congress can no more allow the president to impose taxes than he can allow the judiciary to command troops in wartime. I don't disagree with that. But again, I ask the question, is a tariff a tax? Is it a tax? A tax? Sure, that's the sole province of the Congress. They can propose them and put them into law. The president signs the law into action. That tax exists. I get it. But to me, even though a tariff functionally does the same thing as a tax, it's not the same. Anyway, Kwan also says the statute defines emergency as a sudden and unexpected event that adversely affects U.S. national security or economic prosperity. Okay. All right. Sudden and unexpected event. Well, that also and that's a legitimate question too. Are these things that have been going on that kind of have gotten us to where we are they sudden and unexpected? Now, you can make a pretty good argument. Yeah, they adversely affect U.S. national security or economic prosperity. I mean, we're trying to get into some gray legal area here. So, I mean, some of it's up for legitimate debate. I get that. I do get that. But it's like, I don't know, man. I don't know. TBA says, a sudden and unexpected event. You mean like COVID? Like an illegal alien invasion? Okay, fair point. TBA also says, lawfare is rampant these days. Can't do nothing without some hotshot lawyer thinking they can tell Trump how he can run the country. I repeat, the judges are saying, we want to tell the executive branch how he can govern, but we can't, not really. The libs have 3.5 years of Trump and then probably 8 years of Vance, and by then Barron will be old enough to run for president. Be careful the assumption that we're going to get Vance. Don't get me wrong. Let me explain myself. I'm just saying he's still got to win an election if he decides to run for president, which I think that's a foregone conclusion. I think Vance is going to run. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, here we are again. Another court, another case. Yeah, the tariffs will stay in place while this thing is being appealed. I get it. So here we go. We're going up to the Supreme Court. Anyway, just to bring that one to your all's attention. All right. Real quick commercial before we go to our next compartment on the train. If you have found your way to this live stream on this Labor Day Saturday, my name is Brian Trippett. I am the Front Porch Conservative, and welcome to Front Porch Brunch. We are glad to have you here and hope you're having a good time as you get ready to celebrate college football. As I mentioned at the top of my live stream, this is Lee Corso's last broadcast with ESPN's College Game Day, and I've been going back and forth. If you have been watching it this morning, Lee Corso is decked out in a old school looking tuxedo, and let me tell you, Lee is looking pretty dapper on his day, as well he should. 90 years old, 38 years of doing College Game Day, and you know what? It's a good day. And if I get a little gushy about this, I'm sorry, but yeah, we hope you're having fun. We hope you're having fun with your families. We hope you're planning a great Labor Day weekend for yourself. Oh, Salty Old Fart finally showed up this morning. Good morning and go Buckeyes. Well, yeah, that Texas at Ohio State game, that's going to be a good one. That is going to be a good one. Yeah. That's true. That is true, my friend. So yeah, we are, it's going to be a good weekend. We've got some updates. With regard to the Minneapolis shooting incident that happened earlier this week. Oh, well, you're welcome, dear. You're welcome. No, I mean, you know me. I'll weave all kinds of subjects into a live stream, because people say to me all the time, how do you do your live stream? I was like, well, I don't know. I just talk about things that interest me, and that was the legendary Rush Limbaugh's one of the secrets of his success. He talked about things that interested him, things that make things that have absolute passion for him. Casas Rumble, good morning, friends. Headed out to the lake and listening. GTSY, y'all. All right. Well, great weekend to you. Glad you're here with us this morning. Glad you are here indeed. No, I mean, I'm always going to talk about things that interest me. And, college football is one of those things that truly does it. So, all right. We've got some updated details about the young man who fired shots and killed and injured school children at a Catholic school in Minneapolis, Minnesota. And I tell you what, that meme I showed earlier about, the more I know about the world, the more I like. Anyway, there was a great political cartoon that came out on Thursday or Friday of this week. And this one is pretty powerful. I don't know if you guys have seen this or not, but I will pop this up on screen. And the artist is a fellow named Ben Garrison. Don't know that much about him beyond the name, but I've seen his work before. His work is extremely good, and this one's powerful. This one is very powerful. And like I said, I don't know if you guys have seen this one or not, but if you haven't, this is wow. Just wow. I saw this and I was like, oh man, that's just extraordinarily good. The subject matter is awful, but it is an extraordinarily good political cartoon. And it kind of sets up some of the updates that we've got related to this young man, Robert Westman. Now, the press keeps calling him Robin. I'm not going to do that. I'm sorry. I'm calling him by his birth name. And if anybody's got a problem with that, they can just get over it. But we've got some updates here from justthenews.com, the New York Post. And as the details are starting to come out about this, it's like, oh, man. Oof. Oh, yeah, Salty, I'm with you. It's Robert. It's Robert Westman. Matter of fact, I got the first story lined up here from our friends at justthenews.com. Headline, new details emerge about the deranged transgender who killed 2 children, wounded 18 others. This is by staff reporters at justthenews.com. The Minneapolis gunman, Robert Westman, 23, who said he was, quote, he was tired of being trans, had recently broken up with someone, had previously had a mental health visit to his home when he was a teenager, and he blamed the massacre he perpetrated on his mother, who has retained an attorney and is refusing to talk to the police. Oh boy, this is bad. During the massacre, Westman killed 2 children, injured 18 others, including 15 children at the Minneapolis Catholic School. Westman then died of a self-inflicted gunshot wound. Regarding the romantic partner he had broken up with, which he wrote about in his manifesto, according to the New York Post, the person's name was Abby, written in a Cyrillic code and deciphered by the Post. The relationship seemed to be on the rocks, which I've got the New York Post story here in just a second, and I'll get to it. Going a little further into this article from justthenews.com, regarding blaming his mother, Westman's mother had warned him that he would regret transitioning, but he then discouraged other parents from letting their kids do the same. Quote, "Gender and weed fucked up my head," Westman claimed in his manifesto. "I wish I'd never experimented with either. Don't let your kids smoke weed or change gender until they are 17. Well, I got a better idea. How about we start passing laws that don't let individuals transition until they're at least 25? How about that? Now, let me pause talking about these two stories, or talking about these stories from justthenews.com and the New York Post. And I want to go back to that last quote from Westman's diary. He says, "Don't let your kids smoke weed or change gender until they are like 17. No, like I said, I got a better idea. How about till they're at least 25? Let's go from there. Or ban transitioning. Cassass Rumble, that's an even better idea. I mean, look, here's kind of where I come down on this. And I've said this before, and I will say it again. So it's not like I'm necessarily saying anything new here, but for people who are coming to the live stream for the first time, I just want you guys to know my position on this. If an adult, after sufficient education, and by education, I mean they find out the facts that are involved related to a sex change operation, okay? And after sufficient counseling, in other words, they've talked with a licensed counselor, psychologist, psychiatrist, what have you, okay? If they come to the conclusion that they still want to go forward with this, okay. Now, do I agree with the decision? No, I don't agree with the decision. I don't. But you're an adult. You have the right to do it. My problem, and the problem with a significant number of people, it doesn't matter if they're Democrats, Republicans, Libertarians, Conservatives, liberals in some cases, gays, straights, doesn't matter. When you start letting this happen with children, that's a whole other bag of worms, okay? That's a whole other, can of worms, bag of hammers, whatever you want to call it, okay? Absolutely under no circumstances should we be letting people below a certain age do this stuff. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, we should go back to the old standard. It ought to be 25 years old or higher before you even are allowed legally to do this. Okay? And it ought to be with sufficient counseling and sufficient education and mandated counseling and education before you ever even have the surgery or start the process. Okay? And Kawan, that's a great question. This guy's not saying Bo Diddley, and the mother's lawyering up. Okay? Cassass Rumble over on the Rumble side, hold the doctors accountable too. Yep, stay the heck away from the kids. Exactly. That is the biggest bone of contention right now. And like I say, the position that I hold crosses a significant number of lines. It crosses ideological lines, political lines, party lines, whatever. any number of things. Like I said, you got Democrats, Republicans, Libertarians, conservatives, liberals, gays, straights, and we're all like on this same side. Don't let the kids do this. And then you got people like the Gavin Newsoms, the Tim Walz, Kathy Hochul, J.B. Pritzker, and all these other folks. And they're like, nope. We're gonna make Tim Walz out there making Minnesota a sanctuary state for transitioning. So like I said, this doesn't necessarily fall down, a certain set of lines, the position on this. But keep them away from the kids. Keep them away from the kids. And then you let this stuff happen to kids. They're getting pumped full of SSRI drugs. They're confused already. Then they go through with the surgeries. They go through with the everything else that goes through this process. And on the other side of it, you got someone like a Robert Westman who is regretting everything that he just allowed to have happen to himself. That's making the depression even worse. And like I said the other night on Wednesday, it gets worse and worse and worse till finally somebody snaps off and does something horrible like what happened in Minnesota or other places around the country, which, by the way, I found something this morning that kind of blew my mind in all of this. You wonder why the FBI director, Kash Patel, is saying that this ought to be investigated as a hate crime. Well, this map that I've got up here comes from CatholicVote.com. It's a tracker. These are all of the attacks on Catholic churches and Catholic schools across the country since 2020. Let me say that again. The map you're looking at is a listing of all of the attacks on Catholic churches and Catholic schools that have happened since May 2020. And you begin to wonder why Kash Patel is wanting this investigated as a hate crime against Roman Catholics. Look at that. That's just, I'm not even Roman Catholic, and that makes me extraordinarily sad. Truly, look at that. Indiana, Michigan, Wisconsin, New York State, Florida, Texas, Louisiana. It's just everywhere. Everywhere in the country. It's just, my God. It just makes me extraordinarily sad. It truly does. Truly it does. Lana, darling, I don't think you're wrong. I really don't. I don't think you're wrong at all. I hate to say that, but I don't think you're wrong. Is psychological warfare invented, planned, pushed by the World Economic Forum and its affiliates? Yep. Cross-dressing commies hate organized religion. And that might explain a lot of it. Might explain a whole lot of it. TBA says, that Westman kid drove right past a synagogue and a mosque and went straight for the Christians. Yeah. Anyway, let me get to that New York Post story for you guys. So give me 1 second here and I'll get that set up on the screen. There we go. All right. From the New York Post. Minneapolis Catholic school shooter Robert Westman had recently broken up with partner, had mental call made to home as a teen. I'm not going to read all of this, but there are parts of it that I'll supplement with that article we were just looking at. This is by an article by Ronnie Reyes. Going into the article, police were also made aware of a 2018 welfare check at the home of Westman's mother, with the incident involving a juvenile, according to police records. The details of the call remain unclear. Now, let me get to it. Hang on. There we go. Remain unclear, but it was classified as a, quote, medical mental health call. While the name of the romantic partner is yet to be released, Westman wrote about a person he dated in his Twisted Manifesto. The person who was named Abby in the Siluric code the manifesto was written in and deciphered by the Post, appeared to be on the rocks. Quote, Abby is such a baby, I should never have started dating them. Westman wrote that the partner had a birthday coming up and didn't even feel like getting them a gift. He also wrote about how the partner wanted to have sexual relations with him, but that he, Westman himself, hated sex. A little further into the article, along with discovering the recent breakup, police also found a tactical vest, 2 external media storage devices, and various documents at the home of Westman's father, according to Hennepin County District Court records. And then finally, a little further down in the article, in the deranged writings, Westman gleefully fantasizes that about, quote, being the scary, horrible monster standing over those powerless kids, and reverently confesses admiration for the 2012 Sandy Hook massacre. Westman also sent a deranged goodbye letter to his family and friends where he claimed to embody, quote, traits of empathy, self-sacrifice, and good character, and to be raised to be a good person, while also declaring that he wanted to slaughter innocent children while asking for prayers for his victims. Just wow. Just wow. TBA says, so I guess the partner's name was Abby Normal. Oh. TBA, how could you? How could you? This kid was so messed up. Just absolutely heartbreaking. Just heartbreaking. Now, one more story related to all this. And I said the other night that I was going to try my best to keep the politics out of this. And, you know, by and large, I have. But there is something that I think ought to be legitimately pointed out, that part of what happened last Thursday is the fault of the Minnesota governor. I mean, beyond the question of, you know, being the position that he has on transing kids. I got a story here from the Daily Wire, and when I heard about this, I could believe it, but I couldn't believe it either. So give me 1 second and I'll get this set up for you guys. This is from the Daily Wire, and I think people ought to be made aware of this. Article by Mary Olohan. I hope I pronounced that correctly. Olohan? Yeah, Olohan. We've got the following. Headline. Minnesota Catholic school leader warned Tim Walz of critical school safety threats. He did nothing. Hang on 1 second, folks. Sorry, my throat is giving me a... Or the camera went dead. 1 moment, folks. Hang on. Don't you dare do this to me. Don't you dare. I absolutely. Come on. Oh, all right. We're back. Sorry about that, folks. Article by Mary O'Lohan. 2 years before a shooter opened fire on students attending daily mass in Minneapolis, the leaders of independent and Catholic schools in Minnesota begged Democrat Governor Tim Walz for help securing their schools, according to a 2023 letter reviewed by the Daily Wire. The funding was never authorized. Reading from the article, we have the following. In a letter dated April 14, 2023, that specifically addressed school safety in non-public schools, Tim Benz, the president of MINN Dependent, and Jason Atkins, executive director of Minnesota Catholic Conference, stressed, quote, an urgent and critical need in Minnesota to make sure our schools are secure and safe in light of, quote, recent and continuing attacks on our schools in this country and in our state. The letter says there are about 72,000 students in independent Catholic, Jewish, Christian, and Muslim non-public schools within the state of Minnesota. It came just weeks after the shooting at a Christian school in Tennessee, which was also carried out by a transgender identifying individual in their 20s. Quote, the latest school shooting at a non-public Christian school in Tennessee sadly confirms what we already know. Our schools are under attack, Benz and Atkins wrote in the letter. In Minnesota, non-public schools, particularly our Jewish and Muslim schools, have experienced increasing levels of threat, all of which we must take very seriously. The tragedy from last week at Covenant School must never happen in Minnesota or in our country again, they wrote. We need to ensure that all of our schools have the resources to respond to and prevent these attacks from happening on our schools. The leader specifically called on Walz for assistance in making sure not only that the Minnesota legislature enacts his budget recommendation of $50 million to establish the Building and Cybersecurity Grant Program, but also that this program include all schools as eligible for funding, regardless of whether these schools are public, charters, or non-public. Atkins told the Daily Wire on Wednesday after the shooting in Minneapolis that no additional security was ever funded, even though the money existed. Quote, it's a lack of will to do it by elected officials, coupled with the opposition from some legislators because non-public school students were included in the funding. I would note that Minnesota had an $18 billion surplus in the 2023-2024 session, and this was not funded. Atkins said that Walz had raised support in meetings for the program, which would have created a consistent funding stream for the state from the state budget on a per-pupil basis for all students, not just those in Catholic private schools, but nothing was done. Quote, it was raised in discussions between the bishops and Governor Walz, and he communicated his belief that people should feel safe in their schools and places of worship, but the appropriation was never created. You know, there is a lot of reasons, or there are a lot of reasons, I should say, that I am so glad that Tim Walz never became vice president. This, ladies and gentlemen, is one of them. If this is how he's going to treat the students in Minnesota, regardless of whether they go to public school or not, then I do not want him on a national level anywhere touching the question of education or safety for students. Okay? Just absolutely. God. Like I said the other night, how long before we start having a serious discussion in this country about all this? I'm serious. Just absolutely wrong. Okay. Going to do two things, and then we're going to head out of here. Okay. Did you guys happen to see the co-founder of Cracker Barrel the other night on TV? Oh, God. This is great. This is absolutely great. You're going to love this. So the co-founder of Cracker Barrel was on in a local TV interview the other night. And if you didn't see this, I think you're really going to appreciate it, because there is something to be said for individuals telling you what they really think. Check this out.
Logo rolled out the other day.
Oh, that's crazy. That's nothing. That's a bland nothing. It's pitiful.
Do you think she knows the story of Cracker Barrel?
I don't think so. I heard she was at Taco Bell, but what's Taco Bell know about a Cracker Barrel and country food? And the food is something that they need to work on. Spending $700 million to do that is all I've been doing. I'm just throwing money out the street.
I love it. I love it when I see stuff like this. Absolutely love it. Well, I show you that clip to set up a story that came out in the New York Post. And man, I tell you what, I'm not saying Cracker Barrel is on its way back to reversing itself totally from the DEI nonsense it's been engaging in for the past 10 or 15 years. But I tell you what, we'll see what happens here. We'll see what happens. Check this out. From the New York Post, we have the following. Headline: Cracker Barrel takes down Pride page on website amid rebrand fiasco. Article by David Spector of Fox Business. We've got the following. Cracker Barrel has quietly removed the pride flag from its website after facing consumer backlash over its rebranding efforts. The website link for Cracker Barrel's pride page, which used to boast about the company was bringing the Porch to Pride, now redirects to its culture and belonging page. Quote, at Cracker Barrel, welcoming people has always been at the heart of who we are. When we take care of one another, we are able to take even better care of the people who walk through our doors, the page says. The company has been under intense scrutiny by conservative activists, including Robbie Starbuck and Chris Rufo, over its recent past support of the LGBT causes. Cracker Barrel previously sponsored the Nashville Pride Parade 2024 and unveiled a line of rainbow-colored rocking chairs for Pride Month. The company also has an LGBTQ employee resource group called the LGBTQ Plus Alliance, along with groups for veterans and other communities. The founder of Cracker Barrel's LGBTQ group later served on the Human Rights Campaign Business Advisory Council. The HRC is known for its Corporate Equality Index, which rates companies on LGBT plus workplace policies. Cracker Barrel previously told Fox News Digital that, quote, it has not participated in the Human Rights Campaign Index or any affiliation with FRC in recent years. Y'all told a lie. Company did not immediately respond to Fox Digital's news request for comment about removing its Pride page. Now, like I said, I don't think Cracker Barrel is even close to being out of the woods yet, because they've got issues. They've got issues beyond just the stuff that, has been talked about in the news. But, they're taking some hits right now. They're taking some hits. Small Times in the house. How you doing? If they really believed in the new logo and Pride, they wouldn't taken it down. Good point. Good point. Gypsy says, did you see Anthony Cumia's short about investing in Cracker Barrel stock decline? He said he made No, I have not seen that, but I would. Anthony Cumia is a legend. So there you go. All right. One last thing, and then we're going to get out of here. As I mentioned, you guys know how much I love college football weekend. And there's a lot of emotion for me in this weekend. Like I said, I've been talking about the Lee Corso issue, where this is his last show on ESPN College Game Day. And before we get ready to sign off, I wanted to play something that's a little bit of a local flavor. As you guys know, my hometown team is the Marshall University Thundering Herd. We are playing today at University of Georgia. And if you know anything about Marshall University and its story, for those of you who don't, we nearly lost our football program in 1970 due to a horrible plane crash. And we spent a lot of years, the Huntington community, Marshall University, together, seeing the program rebuilt. And that story was finally put to film in 2006 in a movie called We Are Marshall. And as we get ready to go out the door for the day, I thought there's one clip. And it's a great movie, by the way. And I'm not just saying that because I'm a Marshall fan. It's a truly well done film. But there's one clip that I think is really cool and I think is totally and wholly appropriate. So I'll probably get in trouble with YouTube over this, and that's fine. I'll take it out later. But I thought you guys would enjoy this. And if so, check this out. Yeah. If you ever watch that movie and if you come away with it with a dry eye, I'm sorry, you don't have a heart. All right. Let's bring the train into the station. Folks, I want to thank you for being here for an abbreviated version of Front Porch Brunch. It's Labor Day weekend. It's College Game Day weekend. It's going to be a fantastic day, a fantastic weekend for all of you. I want you guys to go out, spend time with your families. If you like college football, this weekend is made for you, okay? For so many different reasons. If you're not a college football fan, find somebody who is a college football fan and get the fever, okay? Go tailgate, go to some barbecues, hang out, and if nothing else, get some rest. Yes, and obviously drink responsibly. No, spend time with your family, spend time with your friends. If you've got the day off on Monday, soak up some sun, soak up some fun, be a blessing to yourself, be a blessing to your friends and family. We'll be back next week. Keep your eyes open. My plan right now is to do a live stream on Thursday. So with that, I want you guys to have a fabulous Labor Day weekend. I hope you guys have all the blessings that come with it. And remember the words of that great American philosopher, Tom T. Hall, when he said, "It's faster horses, younger lovers, older whiskey, and more money." I love you guys. Have a great weekend. Go Herd. We'll see you later.